Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be looking at trigonometry. I'm going to give you an introduction, okay, and we're going to solve some questions relating to right angle triangle trigonometry, okay? So I want to start by first saying this term over here. So, ka toa. This term is the basic start of any trigonometric um, class, okay? It's very important. Let's break it down. These are letters and every letter has a word that it corresponds to. So SOHCAHTOA, S means sine, O is opposite, H is hypotenuse, and I'm gonna let you know what do I mean by all those. C is cosine, A is adjacent, and H is also hypotenuse. T is tan, O is opposite, and A is adjacent. What do we mean by that? Let's say we have a right angle triangle, okay? This SOHCAHTOA only works for right angle triangle. This is very important. I cannot use SOHCAHTOA for another type of triangle. So let's say we have this right angle triangle over here. Its dimensions are, let's say, 5, 12, and 13. And we have this angle over here, we'll call it x degrees, okay? Sine of this angle, so sine x from SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over adjacent, over hypotenuse. So sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, okay? Right. Let's take a look at this triangle here. First of all, what's the hypotenuse? Hypotenuse is always the side that is opposite to the right angle, okay? So in this case, this is the right angle. This is the side opposite to the right angle. So this side is my hypotenuse, okay? And my opposite, it means the angle that is opposite, the side that is opposite to the angle I'm looking at. So I'm looking at x. So my opposite is going to be the 13. So this is the opposite side. And the adjacent is the side that is from its name adjacent or next to the angle I'm looking at. So this must be the adjacent. Okay. So if I say that sine x equals opposite over adjacent, my angle here, x, so the opposite of x is going to be the 13, okay? And the hypotenuse is 12. So my sine x is going to be equal to 13 over 12. Cosine x, okay, from C-A-H, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So in this case, my adjacent to my x degrees angle is the 5 and my hypotenuse is 12. And I think by now you can work out the tan x. So from TOA, tan equals opposite, the opposite side over the adjacent side. Okay, so my opposite side is the 13 and my adjacent side is 5, so tan x equals 13 over 5. Okay, so these are the basic 3 trigonometric functions. Okay, are these the only ones? No, we have some more. We have something called the cosecant. So cosecant of x, we have a secant of x, and we have a cotangent of x. Basically, these are like the opposites of sine x, cosine x, and tan x. So they are like you flip this fraction, you flip this fraction, and you flip this fraction. What do I mean? Cosecant x equals 1 over sine x. And 1 over sine x means that I will flip this opposite over hypotenuse to give me a hypotenuse over the opposite. Secant x is 1 over cosine x, which is going to equal the hypotenuse over the adjacent. And cotangent equals 1 over tan x, which is going to equal the adjacent over opposite. And in this case, if we want to work out the exact value, my hypotenuse is 12 over the opposite. Opposite is 13. And here my hypotenuse is 12 over adjacent. Adjacent is 5. And here my adjacent is 5 over the opposite, which is 13. And you will find that they are literally the reciprocal of those fractions. Okay, so basically these are the 6 trigonometric functions that you will need to know. Okay, these are very, very important. Like, let's take some examples and see how we can use the sine, cosine, and tan in order to solve problems. So let's start by saying, let's say I have this right angle triangle. Okay, I have this angle as 40 degrees. This is my 90 degrees angle, and I have a 25, and this side is x. So first of all, you always need to start by knowing where is your hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always the longest side and the side looking at the 90 degrees angle. So my x here is my hypotenuse. Okay, if I'm looking at the 40 degrees, my opposite is going to become this side, and my adjacent is going to become this side. So this is the adjacent, this is the opposite. And by the way, if we're taking another angle, if this angle is supposed to be, okay, if this is 90 plus 40, and then I will do a 180 minus this, because angles in a triangle all add up to 180. So I will subtract these two angles from 180 to give me this angle. So this angle is basically 50 degrees. Okay, so if I'm taking this 50 degrees, my opposite is going to become the 25, and my adjacent is going to become this side. So adjacent and opposite all depend on this 50, all depend on which angle you're choosing. So I'm taking the 40 degrees angle right now, okay, and I'm asked to find x. Okay, let me think about what do I have in this question. In this question, I have my angle, I have the adjacent, and I want the hypotenuse. So I need something that relates the hypotenuse and the adjacent. And what does this? From so, ka, toa, I will find that cosine relates my adjacent and my hypotenuse. So if I come and say cosine of the angle, so cosine 40 equals adjacent, which is 25, over hypotenuse, which is x. Rearranging, x is going to equal 25 over cosine 40. And if I want to solve that, I will get my calculator, make sure it's in degrees because my angle is in degrees, and we're gonna talk about degrees and radians later on. I will do 25 divide cosine 40. I will find that my x is 32.6. Let's say this is centimeter, and this is centimeter, and this is my answer. Okay, now let's take another example. Let's say we have a triangle, right angle triangle. Okay, we have this angle as 36 degrees, and we have this side as 7 centimeter, and we have this side as x. So again, so ka toa. Let me think about what do I have here. First of all, this is going to be my hypotenuse. If I'm looking at the 36 degree angle, this is going to be my opposite side. and this is going to be my adjacent side. So I want something that relates my opposite because I want x, and I have my adjacent. It's not the best move to get something that involves the hypotenuse, because I don't have it as a number, it's unknown to me, and I don't want it at the same time. So it's always better to relate what you have, which is in this case the adjacent, and what you want, which is the opposite. So what relates my adjacent and my opposite? TOA. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So let's say I take tan of my angle, which is tan 36, equals the opposite, which is x, over the adjacent, which is 7. If I solve for x, x is going to be 7 times tan 36. This is going to equal, if I put it on my calculator, it's going to give me around 5.1 centimeters. Okay, let's take a different type of example. Let's say we have a right angle triangle, 90 degrees. Let's say this angle is unknown, is x degrees, and I'm interested in finding this angle. I have this side as 8, this side as 3, all in centimeters. Okay, so again, I will start by labeling my stuff relating to the x. I will start by labeling my sides relating to my x angle. So this is going to be the hypotenuse, this is the opposite of my angle, and the 3 is going to be my adjacent. Okay, so here I have hypotenuse and I have adjacent. And if I see, so ka, toa, it relates my adjacent and my hypotenuse. So it's smart to choose cosine. So let's say I choose cosine of x, cosine of the angle. It's supposed to equal the adjacent, which is 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 8. Okay, I want to solve for x. How do I do this? In order to solve for x, we need to get the tan inverse, because x is going to equal the cosine inverse of 3 over 8. So if you come at your calculator and you type in shift cosine, this is going to give you the cosine inverse, and then you put in the fraction of 3 over 8, it's going to give you an answer of around 68 degrees. So my angle here is 68 degrees. Let's take another example. Let's say I have this combination of triangles. I have two right angle triangles. This is the first one, and this is the second one. Okay, this is a right angle and this is a right angle. I have this angle as 50 degrees. I have this side as 5 centimeters. I have this angle as 38 degrees, and I want this side. So first of all, let's take a look at this lower right angle triangle. Okay, let's see. I have the angle. Let me label my sides. So this is going to be my hypotenuse, x is going to be my opposite side, and this is going to be my adjacent side. In order to solve, I will at least need an angle and one of the sides. But looking at this bottom triangle, I don't have any of the sides. So I cannot start by putting SOHCAHTOA for my lower triangle because I don't have enough information. Let's start by looking at the upper triangle. We will find that this side, which is the adjacent to the 38, is common between both triangles, right? So if I somehow find this side, I can continue to solve. Let's relate everything to the 50 degrees. So first of all, this is going to be my hypotenuse. This is going to be my opposite, okay? When I relate to the 50 degrees, this is now, it's no longer adjacent. It's the opposite to the 50 degrees, and this is going to be my adjacent, okay? So let's take a look. I have my adjacent and I want the opposite. So I need something that relates the adjacent and the opposite, which is TOA, or tan of 50. So I will take tan of my angle, which is 50. This is going to equal the opposite. I will just name it opposite, over the adjacent, which is 5. So solving for the opposite is going to be 5 times tan 50, and this is going to give me an answer of around 5.96 centimeters. So now I have this side as 5.96 centimeters. Now I can move to the lower triangle. Let's make everything a little bit neater. Okay, now I can move to the lower triangle and start solving. So I have my angle, I want the opposite, and I have my adjacent. So again, I need something that relates adjacent and opposite. Again, this is going to be TOA. So I will take tan of my angle. This is going to equal the opposite, which is x in this case, over the adjacent, which I just got as 5.96. Solving for x, I will multiply 5.96 to both sides. X will become 5.96 multiply tan 38. If I plug this on the calculator, I will find the answer for x is 4.66 centimeters. I hope this was useful. Please, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm gonna do more videos, so consider liking and subscribing and putting on the notifications so you don't miss. And we're gonna do a trigonometric series where we go to more complex ideas as we go through the videos. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.